Hey guys, this is for the market projection for this week. I'm going to be covering these pairs with you, and one thing is this is for educational purposes only. It's not financial advice, and I'm going to be talking about certain trade setups and some of the trades that I'm looking at and helping you as a trader. And so, for those that are curious, today's date is June 16th, 2014, 3:20 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Okay, so right now we're looking at the euro dollar here, and we've seen a reversal pattern. Now we talked about that last week. It is either a reversal pattern right here, which there was a short-term buy opportunity. We had a non-farm payroll come out. Market dropped because it was continually downtrending, but still what we're looking at is a possible bounce and a retreat up to this area of resistance right here at 1.36921. Okay, so you can see how the market reacted here in the past, and I believe history is going to repeat itself and get back up to this level. It may even surpass that and wick up further. So your target could be right here if you want to try to nail it on the dot. As you can see, it nailed it. This is where I'm putting my take profit in this general area. I'm going to move this up, and that's what I'm looking to do. Is either it's going to hit this take profit. It may struggle. What it did like this, it may pull downwards and then break upwards to wick up. Okay, so that's my first target point on the day chart of the euro dollar. Now I'm already in, but I did talk about reversal patterns here from last week, and I hope you're in already and you're already up so many points. Okay. Looking at a 4 hour standpoint, now I usually only like to look at the 4 hour to the 1 hour, but you can see obviously we are pushing upwards really nicely. This market day has not closed yet, so we still have about 2-3 hours from the Mountain Standard trading day. But what I believe is going to happen is there may be a little bit of a drawdown here. So if you want to look for a pending order, then we can look at one at 1.3549 as your entry point, your stop loss behind here, and then looking for this market to continue rising up to this resistance area. Okay, we don't really have a nice trend line on the 4 hour standpoint, but we do see that it broke. Okay, and you might have gotten at this candle, but like I said, what I'm expecting is a little bit of a pullback. It may not get here, but it may. Okay, it may look at that on the 1 hour perspective. So let's actually kick up down to the 1 hour standpoint, and you can see that we're kicking upwards. Like I said, there was a trend line here. That was the entry point, but like I said, this market may pull downwards to either retest this trend line or the break of this high here. So if you're not in already, you could take a small position, or you can wait for it to pull back. If the market pulls back, I might get more aggressive on my lot size here. Okay, and looking to trade this back up either to the origination point as a target, okay, which is from this entry. It's about 107 points, which is at 1.3666. Okay, that would be my overall target for the 1 hour standpoint. But my day chart perspective is that this market may rise even further. Okay, it's looking to launch itself back up. And like I said, in this overall market, we're actually kind of in a big range, as you can see, like this. So my market analysis is that we're looking to trade back up to resistance here. Let's actually go to the Swiss franc and push this over there. Okay, now I'm already in. This was actually due to Majestic. I like the breakout trades, breaking this low right here, entering the trade. My stop loss is right around here. This is more of a swing trade perspective at 0.9014, but simply looking for a break of this trend line as well. Okay, so there is a trend line on the day chart that has not been broken. So like I said, it may suck back in right around here. You can see it may engulf right there at 0.90 or 89.92. Let's actually go a little closer, huh? right around here is where I'm maybe this market may pull up and ding off this price and then move downwards. It may just be a wick and then we might see another bearish candle. All right. So the 4 hour standpoint, we're just sitting on the day chart perspective, but if we kind of look at this as the 4 hour standpoint, we've broken. Okay, and that's exactly why I'm in. Okay, we've either broken on this trend line, which I believe I got in based on this trend line right here. We just barely got in. So you may be in for some time. Either you got in based on this little trend line here. You can see we're just kind of consolidating, but like I said, we may pull up in this neckline pattern right here. We kind of have a shoulder, head, and then a possible shoulder area. So we may face these kind of choppier markets. So a day trader, maybe short term, we might buy up right around this area. But on a more longer term perspective, I'm looking at this market to possibly drop further. So a couple target points that you can look for is either the support and resistance line right here from this trend line area, or the day chart. I mean, this is it may struggle right here. As you can see, it was resistance acting as support. But long term, I think this market may even get back down to here in this area. Okay. What we've actually established on the day chart that's a little bit different on the euro dollar to the Swiss franc is this might be the turning point. This may be the trend line that we're establishing is this high and this lower high. Let's actually squeeze a chart here. Okay, you can see that we're in an overall downtrend. So this is actually a great opportunity, guys, to get in. You can see it was a body, wick, and then this could be the body. You can see it's more like an arching pattern and then falling downwards. Okay, so it actually may even surpass this low, but you can see it was pretty good support and resistance in this general area here. Now, day chart standpoint, I mean, this is long term, guys. It's going to try to take a week or two for this to develop. But for those that are busy, you definitely can take advantage of this opportunity. So like I said, it has not broken this low, so if you're not in already, you can look for the break of this low or a simple pullback. Okay, and it may suck back up and then continue downwards. My overall stop loss is above this swing high, and like I said, I'm expecting this market to kind of consolidate a little bit and then punch downwards. 1 hour standpoint, you can see it's just shuffling a little bit, but the market condition right now is low volume. So like I said, London might kick in and it may just come up here, and this is where I'm looking for this market to reverse. So if it gets up in this area, maybe when I look at the chart again tomorrow or in the morning possibly, then I might look to add a position depending on how it reacts right here. Either if we get more of a confirmation that we are respecting this ceiling here. Alright, let's actually look at the pound. Now the pound, there was a couple things I said that did contradict each other, but I did talk about this as well. I talked about this market being on a really strong uptrend, okay? But we also talked about this possibly pushing downwards. But the fact that it never could breach this price is the reason to go long. And you can see that we had a really tight stop loss right here based on this pattern right here. It ceilinged out, or it floored out, meaning that the market came down, couldn't breach this price, stop loss there, and if you entered on this candle, you would have just did awesome on the pound dollar. Okay, we talked about this pattern here, but we also talked about this being an overall uptrend, as we can see. So we were actually looking for more buy opportunities and sell opportunities, and so there was a short-term sell. Hopefully you got involved and you made some money on that one, but hopefully also you took advantage of the upward swing. Okay, so this market right now is kind of in the overbought. It may keep on stretching out, so this is a market that you don't want to really chase. You've already probably profited. What may happen right now in this case scenario is we are channeling upwards. Okay, so overall we may hit the top of this channel, and that would be the selling point. So you could get in, but there's not really a great stop loss to look for. You may look for an entry at the 50% of this big candle right here, okay, on the day chart of the pound dollar. Okay, so this would be half of that candle. We may pull downwards and then continue back to the top. So this top of the channel could be your overall target. Okay, so let's we squeeze this chart a little bit just to give you an idea. Is we still have probably like a 269 point trade still establishing. Now again, this would be more of a smaller position and get involved because this market has moved up quite a bit already. We may consolidate a little bit and then continue upwards. What I like to see is possibly a bounce back down to this trend line and then continuing up to the top of this channel. So we have a lot of room to trade in, looking for the upward swing. The 4-hour standpoint, like I said, guys, we talked about this trend line, and I really hope you took the break. Here was your breakout. There was a entry point on the break. Close your stop loss around here or even down here, and this thing just went straight up. Okay, and I hope you took advantage of that. Talked about this market being a little bit tougher to trade on the selling side. Okay, there was a bounce trade off this trend line down to this low here. Okay, and like I said, we wanted to see how this market reacted here before we got more involved. And then London kicked in, and you can see that London, there was definitely a lot of movement and action on the upward swing. So here again, we talked about entering on a shorter trend line like this if you were there at that webinar. But here we have resistance acting as support, double bounce, and just took off. Like I said, that trade should have just made your week. Now you just got to wait a little bit for another setup. All right, let's actually look at the USD's yen here. Okay, and this market I might actually look to sell off instead of buying. As you can see, there's a buy. Because we're consolidating a little bit, we may gain a little bit of a buy. This is on the weekly chart. Okay, because we're on a really strong uptrend, that's the reason why I'm long. But one thing to consider is that we are in a pretty overbought market. Okay, so we're kind of sealing out. You can see there's resistance here. I'm just going to draw some areas of support resistance for us to look at target points. Okay, if we do go short. All right. So this is kind of an awkward situation because we still have a high and we have a low high, but we have a higher low and a higher high. So this market may consolidate. It really depends on the ends. So if you want to refer to Forex Factory, we can look at that site or Bloomberg. Okay, there's information there. You can possibly look for information if the yen is going to weaken against the currencies. Okay, so you can see that there was a lot of inflation based on the yens, and you can see on the day chart here that we were just in a really consolidated market. So like I said, I might take a small loss right here, okay, with this trade, but maybe we may get a little bit of a bounce out of it. Okay, and I might just close it out later today, because again, this market condition isn't really the best to trade in at the moment for the USD yen. But look at this, guys. I mean, this is a pretty obvious consolidation. So there was a selling opportunity last week down to here, and this market just may come back down to here. Then we may look for a possible buy opportunity back to the top, depending on what kind of candlestick patterns that we can recognize here. So again, this market may continue going downwards because of this resistance bounce trade. May have done something like this. Okay, just took a lot longer for it to get down, and that's exactly what it's doing. It's just kind of sitting there, pull back up, and then possibly pushing back down. So pulling back up, maybe around here, we may see some resistance and at current market price to here, and then drop off. So we do have a small head and shoulder pattern, and then this is where we're ultimately going at the moment. Okay, But what I like about the setup, guys, is because we consolidated for almost like, I mean, this is probably like a month or so. If it breaks out of this again, I mean, we may be going a pretty good distance. Now we have a beautiful trend line on the top. So if it breaks this daily trend line based on the weekly chart, look at this thing. I mean, this thing could continue going upwards and upwards and upwards. So, I mean, this is going to happen within, this month. Okay, so that's something to be open-minded to. 4 hour standpoint, again, it's just not like the best market to really go up against. The USD and the yen are really tightly involved with each other. So, like the non-farm payroll typically will not do much, especially with this pair. It's a slower moving pair. What I see on the actual USD yen is kind of a wedge formation here. I'm going to get rid of the bottom line here, and we're just kind of wedging in here. So you don't have to get involved yet at all. You can simply look at the break of this wedge and maybe keep your stop loss right here if we go short. If we break this low or this trend line on the bottom here, we can look for a break of this low here, or vice versa. You can look for the break of the upswing, and then we can either refer to this as our stop loss or right here. Okay, and we have a pretty good distance from here to here, 82 pips as the target point. Okay, we may be trending upwards on a 4 hour perspective. So 1 hour standpoint, you can see how sideways this market is. So this is obviously the type of market that you really don't want to even be in. Okay, so like I said, if this trade does go, in the green a little bit, then I might just get out and then let this market really just make a commitment. Okay, this is the type of market you don't want to trade in. Typically what we would want to look for is either the break of this high for a breakout or even this low as a breakout. Okay, so right now with the US yen, because the US and the yen are so tightly involved, that's why this market is going sideways, and plus it's kind of low volume as well. Alright, let's actually look at the commodities here. Okay, with the Aussie and the CAD. Now, I'm actually short on this pair. You can see that I'm short selling this pair, but there's a couple things that I want to include with the Aussie dollar. Now, the euro dollar is dropping or reversing, as well as the Aussie dollar is going up. Okay, so that means that the dollar is affecting this currency and where it's moving, and now we're just sitting. Okay, which is kind of annoying. I would actually look for an engulfing candle, a red candle, maybe within a couple days from now. If it does, then I'm going to be more confident of this trade, but this trade may not work out on the day chart. I mean, the Aussie, the dollar itself is really making the decision. Okay, so let's actually look at this market. So we are still trending upwards, as you can see. I mean, we have a low, a wick, body, body. Okay, so we really haven't broken a strong trend line, but we've broken this trend line. Okay, and it's at a stage where it's really indecisive. Okay, so we may engulf. If it does, then I'm going to be more comfortable about this trade. But if you don't, then it's going to hit my stop loss. Okay, the 4 hour standpoint is really just going sideways as well. But again, like I said, I was looking to go short based on the break of the trend line. Okay, as you can see, that's why I entered based on the close. So this market may just kind of meander off, may consolidate, so it's not really a good time to trade, guys. I mean, if you're not in this Aussie dollar trade, then you just gotta be wait. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point about patience. Okay, is to wait. So really, for confirmation on a 4 hour standpoint, is waiting for the break of this low. Okay, or if we re-break or an engulfing pattern on the 4 hour downwards, then we may start to break downwards. Okay, or even this price. This is a price that it's held over here on the left hand side. So there's resistance, may be acting as support. So this trade itself, like I said, if it goes in the green a little bit, then I might just simply exit out with a small profit and just look for a better trade opportunity and wait for a commitment out of this market. Again, there's no Forex EA or system out there that controls the market. Okay, so the idea on the 1 hour standpoint looks really good. I mean, there was some short-term opportunities that I really hope you took advantage of. We did talk about the break, but we also talked about this retest. And there was just a short-term sell opportunity with 40 points that you could have gained, but now we're just sitting. So it is a pretty boring market to look at. But like I said, I'm looking for a break of this low here, and this is the high that I have for my stop loss. So right now I'm just kind of just letting this thing do its thing and not really do anything about it. I mean, if we're going to sell off, then this thing should start to push downwards, and this may happen within London. London may uh, determine the direction itself. But again, you can wait for those commitments out of the market for you to enter. Okay, the US CAD is just not doing it for me. I mean, let me go ahead and look at this market. So the US CAD has uh, kind of dropped off the map here, but what I'm looking for is a possible sit here. Okay, so if the CAD is going down, then what is the Aussie doing? It's probably going to go up. Okay, so typically, whatever plan you have or with your account size, you want to stick with your plan or get to a point where you can stick with your plan and get the maximum results. So right now, what I actually see on the US CAD, which is actually a really good trend line, is right there on the day 4 hour standpoint. Let's actually go to the day chart. Day chart just shows that this market has respected this price. Okay, and again, the market has not shown a white candlestick for quite some time. So what I'm looking for on the US CAD is that this overall uptrend that it had, that it's would actually respect that. So right there's a trend line there. But here, I mean, we've broken a trend line, and even right here. So it's kind of hard to say that this is a great opportunity for the buy. What I would look for is a possible triple bottom scenario. Okay, and I would look for engulfing patterns if to go long. So if you're not in already, you can wait. 4 hour standpoint, like this trend line here is looking really good. Like I said, this market may bounce off this area and not hit my stop loss here. Okay, that is where I'm having my stop, is behind this area here. I was swing trading it, so we'll see if it does come down this way, and then I want to see how it reacts with this trend line here. If we break upwards, then I might get more aggressive and look to trade back towards the top as my overall target. So in all reality, like I say, what you could do if you were in, you probably would with a small lot size. You're just looking for a commitment here. Either it's going to break this low to continue going downwards, but my mentality is I'm looking for a possible reversal pattern and expecting this to be the triple bottom of this pattern here. Okay, because we have a low and a high, a low and a higher high, meaning that if it comes down here, then we may start to trade upwards. So this is just more of a swing trading mentality. The 1 hour standpoint, okay, this trend line is just looking better and better, and it's pretty much the same trend line that you have on the 4 hour standpoint. So right here, this would be the great break opportunity. So like I said, I got in based on, I think it was a break of this low right here, breaking upwards, and I just been in for a while. I'm just letting this thing do its thing. It may consolidate, it may start to pick up, but I'm just being patient. So if it re-breaks this high here, this trend line here, then I'm going to be more interested of entering another trade. Okay, the euro yen and the pound yen. So let's actually look at the day chart, and I'll just go ahead and clean this off here. So if this candlestick ends up white, that is awesome. Okay, that means the euro is coming into place, and that the euro is going to be the leading currency in this market. Okay, so we've actually climbed down quite a bit, and maybe what's happening, guys, is this: we may be hitting the bottom of this trend line here. Okay, so you can see it's kicking, and it just doesn't like that price. So this market may start to move upwards towards the top of this channel as an overall target. Okay, now where that is, you can actually use Magic to help you exit the trade there, or if you want to be more conservative, it's right here. Okay, right around the 140.32 area. So my stop loss is behind here. And if the stake closes white, that is awesome. I'm going to be really comfortable to leave these trades in. They'll make up the small losses I've had throughout the week, and just excited about that. So like I said, this market may ceiling out right here because it is an overall downtrend, as you can see. Okay, let's actually look at the bigger time frame. So you can see it was on an uptrend, but let's see. Let's actually look at this. Yeah, it's broken the trend line. So not to contradict ourselves, this may be the retest, but I'm looking for this to market to come back towards that price at least. Okay, and then you can see it X's out. So this may be like, I mean, quite some time, guys. 36 days for this thing to work out. So plenty of time to get in, and what we're going to be looking for is it breaking upwards, pulling back down, dipping, and then possibly going upwards. So we're going to look to buy these dips towards the top. So I really think that this market is respecting this channel here, and we're looking to trade towards that top of the channel. And then at the top of the channel, I'm going to be looking for a possible sell opportunity back down to support. Looking at it as the 4-hour standpoint, like I said, I really like this pattern on the 4-hour standpoint. You can see that we've had a massive run, and I hope he took advantage of this last week. And then we consolidated. We didn't know where we wanted to go, but you can see this channel that we've had on the day chart, and I'm expecting this thing to launch and just going upwards. Okay, so I'm already in. I'm not going to really do anything else. I don't want to overtrade or get too aggressive here. But if you're not in already, there was another reason, is the break of this smaller trend line here, and we're just sitting. So, like I said, this thing may take quite some time. As you can see, this was a week's information for this thing to commit in a direction. So that's kind of what I'm looking at with this market right now. 1-hour standpoint, like I said, it's kind of a similar scenario. We are right now, it's just low volume, so that's why we're facing these smaller market conditions. Probably later tonight we may look for a break at this high here. If you're not in already, there's a reason to get in, and just expect this kind of market condition, but on the upward side here. So day chart on the pound dollar. Now the pound really had a lot of influence on these pairs last week, pushing these markets up. As you saw, the euro yen, it looked the exact opposite. So you can say that the pound was more dominant in where the market really wanted to go. Looking at a bigger standpoint, we are on an upward trend. Now this is the yen's being inflating the price as far as the banks are concerned, and you can see that we're really liking a trend line here. Okay, meaning that we're actually continuing the trend. So long term, a safer entry is that this market may filter downwards again a little bit, maybe this X, or you can look for maybe a pull down to this price right around here, and then continue going upwards. So right now you could take a small trade, but we may expect a pull down for quite some time, depending on how the yens react within a couple days from now. So like I said, it's broken out, but sometimes these breakout trades you might see a pull downwards like this. So this trend line doesn't really mean anything. But we may see pullback and just not expecting it to trade lower than this low. So we kind of stair step. So we may pull downwards, maybe entry right here, stop loss right there, and then we just carry it as long as we can until it crosses this line, or we find another trend line to use. The 4 hour standpoint, like I said, this market is kind of just really dull right now because of the large moves from last week. Um, Again, I really hope you took advantage of this double bottom scenario because that's where your entry was in, and just taking it right up. All right. So we haven't really retested this high either, so that might be another reason to look for as far as engulfing in continuation pattern on the upward trend. And it's the pound yen, guys. It is a mover, so you got to be careful. So this is a really ugly market to trade in right now. Like I said, I'm just looking for this market to really filter downwards. If it does come downwards, then I'm going to be more excited for this to continue going back up. You can look for the break of this high at 173.21 as an entry point for you to buy this pair up. But literally, this thing is just slow now. So kind of expect that right now. Is just this market is just consolidating. Okay, the pound, euro pound. All right, let me get rid of these lines here. Clean this up. So the euro is actually coming into place, as you can tell, based on this candlestick pattern. So if it closes like that within about an hour from now, I'm just going to see long term if we have any resistance. It is at a bottom, guys. So here you can see over here on the left hand side, which again, EAs and all your stuff that you see on the internet, they don't recognize this. Okay, they may have some program to kind of help you with the support resistance on the short term now, but this is something that you can see what's happened. So when it hit that price, we saw it move back up towards this price. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm going to be expecting this week is a long position. Again, it's going to go long. We may pull back down a little bit. You can see kind of shuffle in that area. So we may have that shuffle a little bit, but then we're going to start to turn upwards. And you can see that it hit this price as well as this price. So we've trended down for quite some time. Hits the bottom, and we have a beautiful reversal pattern, guys. So like I said, you could enter right here, stop loss right there, or you could wait for it to pull back down to hit this candlestick right here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little closer for you. Right here. Okay, this market may pull down, hit that price, and then continue going upwards, and we can have a stop loss right there, or a little bit lower. And I mean, that's good risk reward, especially with the euro pound, 175 pips. 4 hour standpoint, like I said, this market is going sideways, but we may look for a possible pullback and not breaching this price. That this is the low and it's a turning point of the market. So the stop loss would be in this general area here at 0.7956, and then just look for this thing just to climb up. May struggle in this area, but like I said, long term, I'm expecting it to respect that price. 1 hour standpoint, look how sideways this thing is, and it just may just come downwards. So really what you're looking for on a commitment, either it commits on bouncing off this line. We may double bottom. That's one thing to consider. Okay, this market may pull down to double bottom and even give you a better price to get in and then go up. But looking for the break of this high and then look to trade upwards. There is a trend line here on the euro pound, so if you're interested in the break of this trend line, but like I said, this market meander, double bottom, and then break. So the only reference point as a stop loss is right here. But like I said, you could enter now and base your decision on the day chart as a more swing trading perspective. But like I said, it's entering upwards, and we just may pull down a little bit, then rise up to that price. All right. Okay, one of the exotics, just for those that have some favorites. I actually got out of this trade as a small loss, and this market is just kind of hard to even analyze. I'm just going to go through the day chart right now. So resistance broke the support. So overall, I mean, depending on how this market reacts, we may continue this downtrend that we had. Okay, so we have a trend line on the top, and we've trended once, trended twice, but what I'm really interested in is what the market may do right here at 1.4443. Once we get to this price, then that's when I'm going to be more excited for this market to trade upwards. The 4-hour standpoint, it is kind of engulfing and creating a double top, so this may be a great market to get involved with. But what I'm going to be concerned about is if it rises above this area, then I'm going to be looking to get out. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and do a test trade, meaning I'm not going to commit too hard with this market, and then have my stop loss right around here. So I'm looking to risk 52 points. Okay, and if you aren't in, then you could wait for it to break this low here for a recommitment downwards. The 1-hour standpoint, again, it's kind of a slower market right now, so for scalpers, you might have a chance, but you can see we're just in a consolidation here. And if this truly is a downtrend, then we're going to break this low. Okay, if it's not, then we're going to get stopped out. So looking at this market, it's at an indecisive market, so this market may suck up, and the better entry really is to be patient and wait for it to either hit this support area, okay, the market come back up to here, and then bounce off this trend line to continue the downward trend. So again, if you want to get involved, you just want to test it out, just have a small lot size in for your trading. So like I said, this market may just consolidate for a little bit. This was also on the list, the Aussie yen. We did some Majestic trades this last week. Let me kind of go through this right here. I'm actually in twice because I was in a presentation with you guys on the webinar, and I'm looking to go short, of course. My TP right here, and possible target right there. So let me actually explain what I'm looking at and what I'm thinking about. Is again, the yens may be the dominant currency of where these markets may go. So the Aussie dollar, it may continue going up, and this one might reverse, and so the yen might be the one that's influencing it the most. So what I like about this market, number one, is we had a break of the trend line and we've hit it. I mean, we're sealing down. We're showing some exhausted type of candlestick patterns. What I'm looking for is a possible red candlestick within the day or two, but I'm looking for this thing to drop. I mean, at least to here. Okay, but overall, I mean, in a really long standpoint, I mean, this thing could just plummet because of these market movements here. We've climbed up quite a bit. We've broken the trend line, and I think this thing is ready to just plummet. Okay, it may come down and hit right around here. If not, this trend line might be in the way. Okay, let's actually look at a bigger standpoint. So we've been in kind of a range market overall, slightly climbing upwards. So I'm going to go ahead and reclean this, and like this. So let's see what kind of a pattern we have here on the longer term perspective. So we do kind of have like a, let's see, kind of a wide channel. I mean, literally really wide. You can see how wide that is. So literally, what we could look for is a possible retracement down to here as the overall target. Okay, right around here. So we have resistance acting as support. And let's see if we can get that other trade over there. Yeah. Okay, so we have two trades that we're looking to exit right around this area. You could take some profits right here with one of the trades. But in all reality, once we get down here, I'm going to be interested in this kind of pattern. I'm going to be interested in a reversal. Okay, and this is a long-term perspective. 4-hour standpoint, there were just awesome trading opportunities with this one for the last couple weeks. I mean, just trend line, and now we're at the same trend line break. I mean, we've broken a trend line, we've broken a pattern as well. Okay, and it's just sideways because it's just low volume. But I think this market is at an exhausted state, and I'm just expecting this thing to just plummet. That's why I'm short, and my stop loss is right here. If you feel like that is too far of a stop loss, you may look for a possible touch of this line right here at this price, and that is at 95.91. All right, and we may just plummet. Like I said, I mean, just from here to down here, which would probably take the whole week. It's gonna probably take 2 weeks to get there, so I'm looking for 186 pips out of this trade at least. The 1 hour standpoint, it's just ugly. I mean, in reality, I mean, we have a low and a lower low and a high and a slightly lower high. Okay, and lower high right here. But this thing is just not really committing right now. So I would actually expect either later tonight some volume to kick in for it to drop off. All right. If you want to be more conservative, then look for the break of this low right here that we've actually established recently. Break the low, then we may see our stop loss in this general area here at the top. And I mean, this thing is a long-term sell opportunity, so we want to see some commitment and maybe look at like this kind of market movement where it went sideways for a little bit, then it started committing upwards. So like I said, it may consolidate, break upwards. It's consolidating. I'm looking for this thing to just drop. If it doesn't drop, obviously our stop loss is there just in case. Okay, and that's kind of where we're at right now. So right now, with my favorite pairs I'm interested in really are the Euro dollar, Swiss franc. Let's see here. Pretty much stay away from the yen. Euro, yen, I really like, and that's really it. So I hope you guys enjoy these trade projections, and hopefully you can make some pips this week. All right, take care.